Just this week, Andrew Tate's world was rocked again. Lauren Southern, a Canadian YouTuber and political commentator, released a memoir in which she accuses Tate of sexually assaulting her and choking her unconscious during a 2018 encounter. Her words add a chilling new dimension to Tate's long list of controversies. Tate's legal team immediately hit back, dismissing the allegation as nothing more than a marketing ploy to sell books and warning of a potential defamation lawsuit. But the accusation lands at a critical moment. Tate already stands under a storm of ongoing trials, asset seizures, and criminal charges. This latest claim doesn't just strike at his public image, it strikes at his personal history, dragging new voices and new testimonies into the spotlight. And in the world Tate built on dominance, control, and invincibility, one accusation like this is enough to raise the question, how much more weight can his empire carry before it finally collapses? While new accusations surface, the courts are already preparing for a landmark showdown. In the United Kingdom, 4 women have filed a civil lawsuit against Andrew Tate. Their claims are harrowing: rape, coercive control, strangulation, threats with firearms. For the first time, a British court will treat coercive control not just as a domestic matter, but as a centerpiece of a high-profile civil trial. Originally set for 2027, the hearing has now been fast-tracked to June 2026, a sign of just how serious the judges consider this case. For Tate, this is more than just another courtroom battle. This is about setting precedent. If the plaintiffs succeed, it won't just expose him to financial damages. It will officially establish his pattern of control and abuse in the eyes of the law. And unlike criminal cases, where prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, civil trials cut deeper into reputation. A guilty verdict isn't necessary. What matters is whether the jury believes the women's stories hold more weight than Tate's denials. The result? Even without prison time, a civil judgment could devastate his empire, fueling future prosecutions, draining his fortune, and most importantly, shattering the untouchable image he's built online. This is not just another trial. This is the moment when Andrew Tate's myth of control collides head-on with the very concept of accountability. Civil lawsuits are one battle, but Andrew Tate's biggest fight is with the criminal courts. In May 2025, UK prosecutors filed a staggering 21 charges against Andrew and his brother Tristan. The list reads like the script of a crime thriller: rape, human trafficking, actual bodily harm, and controlling prostitution for gain. Andrew faces 10 charges linked to 3 women. Tristan faces 11 charges linked to 1 woman. Both brothers deny everything. These charges didn't come out of nowhere. They follow years of mounting investigations in Romania, the UK, and even the United States. The pattern is clear: allegations of exploitation, violence, and control. And while Tate insists it's all part of a conspiracy to silence him, prosecutors paint a different picture. A man who built his empire on the backs of vulnerable women, hiding abuse behind the mask of influence and wealth. If convicted, the consequences won't just be financial. They'll be life-changing: long prison sentences, asset seizures, and the permanent destruction of his carefully crafted alpha image. For a man who built his brand on the idea of being untouchable, these criminal charges could prove to be the first cracks in the foundation of his empire. As the legal battles grow, the financial pressure tightens. In late 2024, British authorities moved against Andrew Tate's assets. The headline, "Grabber," a £180,000 deposit for an Aston Martin Valhalla, an ultra-rare supercar, seized by Devon and Cornwall police. It wasn't just about the car. It was part of a wider operation targeting millions in suspected tax evasion and money laundering. By the time investigators finished, over £2.7 million worth of Tate's money and possessions had been stripped away. But the story didn't end with the seizures. Authorities announced that the confiscated funds wouldn't gather dust in evidence lockers. Instead, they'd be funneled back into local communities, funding programs to protect vulnerable people and prevent crime. For Tate, it was another humiliating blow. Luxury toys meant to display wealth and power became trophies in the hands of the very system he claims to defy. For his critics, it was poetic justice. For his loyal fans, it was proof that the establishment is determined to take him down by any means necessary. Either way, one thing is clear. The empire Tate built on wealth and influence is slowly being dismantled, brick by brick, dollar by dollar. Andrew Tate's controversies haven't stayed in the courtroom. They've spilled into the political battlefield. In mid-2025, the UK's Labour Party launched a sharp attack ad against Nigel Farage. The reason? Farage once praised Tate as an important voice for masculinity. Labour's message was clear. Scrapping the new Online Safety Act, as Farage has promised, would leave boys exposed to the influence of men like Tate, figures accused of trafficking, exploitation, and manipulation. For Labour, Tate became the perfect symbol of online radicalization and toxic masculinity. For Farage, it was a political trap: defend Tate and be branded soft on misogyny, or backtrack and risk looking weak. What began as an influencer's scandal has now become a talking point in national politics. A debate not just about Tate himself, but about how online culture shapes young men, and whether laws should protect them from voices like his. The effect? Tate's name now carries weight far beyond social media. It has become a political weapon, shaping narratives, influencing elections, and forcing leaders to answer one uncomfortable question: what do we do about Andrew Tate? Long before the UK charges, Andrew Tate's empire began to crack in Romania. In December 2022, police raided his villa in Bucharest. The charges were heavy: human trafficking, rape, and forming a criminal group. Tate, his brother Tristan, and 2 women were arrested and detained. For months, Tate fought from behind bars, posting through proxies, insisting he was innocent.
Have you raped anybody?
Absolutely not.
Calling himself the target of a global conspiracy. Eventually, the court replaced his detention with house arrest, and later with judicial control. The restrictions were strict: no leaving Romania, no contact with witnesses, no escape from the watchful eyes of prosecutors. And while one indictment was dismissed on procedural grounds, the investigations never stopped. To his followers, Tate framed it as proof of his persecution, a man too dangerous for the system to ignore. To his critics, it was confirmation of what they had always believed, that the top G was nothing more than a trafficker hiding behind an online persona. The Romanian case wasn't just the first domino to fall. It was the moment the world saw that Andrew Tate could, in fact, be touched. If courtrooms and police raids weren't enough, Andrew Tate's online empire was hit by a disaster of its own making. In late 2024, hackers infiltrated the real world, his rebranded Hustlers University platform. The breach was massive. Personal records, private chat logs, and emails of up to 800,000 users spilled onto black market forums. The fallout was immediate. Fans reported phishing attacks, blackmail attempts, and harassing calls. Cybersecurity experts called the platform a ticking time bomb, a system built for hype, not safety. But Tate didn't apologize. He laughed it off as fake news, urged his fans to keep signing up, and even used the chaos to rally loyalty. The result? His community split in 2. Some cheered his defiance. Others saw indifference that left them exposed and betrayed. The breach revealed more than stolen data. It exposed how fragile his empire really was. Behind the image of an unstoppable alpha leader stood a platform so poorly guarded that it turned its own users into victims. For Tate, it was just another show. For thousands of followers, it was a nightmare that proved the emperor's armor was nothing but glass. Even as scandals mounted, Andrew Tate found new ways to cash in. He hyped tokens, staged online stunts, and clashed with critics like CoffeeZilla. What started as jokes turned into pump-and-dump schemes, leaving loyal fans with empty wallets while Tate pocketed the gains. It was the perfect symbol of his empire, loud, flashy, and profitable. For him. Costly, risky, and devastating for everyone else. And that's the story. If you want more deep dive tales like this, make sure to subscribe to the Tales Script YouTube channel. Your next story starts there.